Welcome to a mini lecture on soybeans, which is a member of the legumes family. So, soybeans originated in China about 3,000 years ago, and it is considered one of the 5 Chinese sacred grains, which also include rice, wheat, beans, barley, and millet. And here you can see fermented soybeans. And below that, these are the soybeans you often see in Asian dishes. And here is a plate which has soybean cakes. Soybeans has often been termed the Cinderella bean because of its versatility. It usually has about 30 to 50% protein content and about 13 to 25% of oil. It also has an important ingredient known as phytoestrogens, which may lower low-density lipoproteins. And as you know, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer for men and women in the United States. So anything that may lower your low-density lipoproteins is very heart healthy. It may also decrease menopausal symptoms, such as hot flashes, and prevent bone loss in postmenopausal women. And here we see a picture of a soybean on the plant, and below it are the actual beans within the pod. And you may have seen it served as edamame, in which it is usually boiled and served with salt as an appetizer in many Japanese restaurants. So soybeans were very popular in China because of the influence of Buddhism, which promoted a vegetarian diet. It is often known as meat without bones because it does have a high amino acid content, which is important. Well, there are many legends related to how were soybeans discovered. One is that journeying merchants were attacked by a bandit and took refuge on a hilltop. And as they were running out of food, a servant noted a tiny plant with little round beads in its pod. They believed that it had been left by Hutsi, the ancient agricultural god. Soybeans have also been used for many centuries in China as a medicinal aid. Chinese used it to treat heart, liver, stomach, lungs, kidneys, bladder, bowels, and also nerves, skin, and hair elements. And here you see a drawing of a herbalist serving his clientele. Soybeans has a very interesting history. We believe that Jesuit missionaries who had been stationed in China brought them back to Europe, and that World War II Dutch prisoners created tempeh from hibiscus petal fungi. And here you see an example of tempeh, and above we see a soybean leaf, unfortunately, that has been affected by a fungi. Vitasoy was a protein soybean drink invented by Dr. Miller, who was a medicinal missionary in China. And soybean and Vitasoy was such an important product in China that Dr. Miller was awarded a Chinese medal for his invention. Soybeans in America. Well, soybeans were popularized by Seventh-day Adventists because its founder, Ellen White, had a vision which prohibited the eating of flesh and the use of alcohol and tobacco. So again, soybeans became a very important source of protein for Seventh-day Adventists. Henry Ford was also a soy fan and a soy visionary. And here you can see a refrigerator in which he often kept soybean milk for any visitors who would stop by his farm. And here you see Henry Ford in one of his 2 soybean suits that he would like to wear. Over time, Ford used soybeans in order to make auto gearship knobs, horn buttons, window frames, accelerometer pedals, and as I mentioned, his famous soybean suit. Henry Ford was an industrial visionary. He saw the potential for soybean in Its use as making bottle caps, diesel fuel, enamel, disinfectants, face creams, firefighting foams, cements, and lecithins, which is an important emulsifier of chocolate. And here we see the different uses in which soybean have been used, mixing concrete, and also to make eco-friendly soy paint, which is very popular these days. Some of the soy products that have occurred over time include license plates. During World War II, in order to save metal, there was a creation of license plates made with soybean, but unfortunately, although they were sturdy, they were discontinued because they were very popular with those who would eat them. In 2008, the Ford Mustang actually had seafoam made of soybeans, and it has been also used to make clothing. Here you see Kikkoman, which is a family-owned business from the 1600s, which still makes their very famous soy sauce, which is made from soybeans. And soy has also been used to make a formaldehyde-free soy adhesive, which is, again, another eco-friendly product, which is very popular these days. Some of the soy foods that have been used have been, for example, the creation of margarine. During World War II, butter was in very short supply, and a substitute was created known as margarine. Also, soy milk, which, again, today is very popular as vegetarianism has also increased. Soybean is a good source of amino acids. Soybeans have also been used as soy nuts to create flour. Again, as I mentioned, to create the famous Kikkoman soy sauce. Again, as I mentioned, the descendants of the original family venture in 1661 are still the owners of the Kikkoman company. And soy foods were used to create tofu. As we saw in a previous slide, those tofu cakes on that platter, and also tofuti, which is an alternate ice cream dessert, tempeh, which is fermented to create kind of a meaty flavor, and also textured vegetable protein, which is often an ingredient in many U.S. school lunch programs. And here we have a soy wrap. Question that's come up, though, is the benefits and downside of what are known as Franken soybeans, because as of 2019, 94% of all U.S. soybeans were genetically modified to be herbicide tolerant. So what are the implications, especially for those infants who use a soy infant formula? We're still yet to find that out. And this is the end of our little mini lecture on soybeans.